Hi, and
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you.
Good. Welcome to interview with Irene.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I will introduce you. So today my guest is Lia Scott Price, and she's a wonderful comic artist, and she will talk a little bit about her work. And by the way, today's episode is from my office. That's why my setting is a little different than that. Yeah. So, how did you get into art?
Basically, I started off with a novel. It was a vampire novel, and I wanted to kind of bring the characters to life. So I thought, well, why not do comic books? Because it's a great
Oh,
medium.
wow.
And so I decided to go ahead and hire some artists. And the first six issues, the first five issues were, I'm sorry, six issues were drawn by other artists, and then I started, kind of drawing myself. But it all started because I wanted to
Uh,
turn the whole series into a comic book. So that's how
that's
I got into it.
and in the back of your art, is that your work too?
Um,
In back of you?
oh yes, those are my comic book covers.
Wonderful, yes. They're all lovely. I'll try to put some insights of your art too in the video,
Okay.
but I'm just learning to do that now. So, your your comic book series is about vampires. So, how did you get into vampires?
I've always, yeah, I've always loved vampires. So even when I was a kid, like all the '70s shows, like
Oh
the,
wow!
the Hammer films, and
Okay.
like my favorite one was called Seven Golden Vampires. It was like a mix of
Nice.
horror and action. It was like a kung fu flick. So I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. Uh,
Oh wow!
it was like vampires would actually fight. It's like
Right.
an action kind of film. And also when I saw films in the '80s like The Lost Boys and Fright Night and From Dusk Till Dawn, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And when Blade came out, that's when I really got into it. So I really like the vampire films that are action oriented, kind of like a lot of sword fighting.
Oh, that's
Yeah, a lot
good.
of blood, a lot of gore.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the sparkly vampires?
No.
No. Okay.
No sparklies in mine. No guns
Yeah.
blazing. No
I
sparkles.
agree, but just
Sparkle
one
free.
uh, um just so who was your biggest influence in getting into art?
Um, it, I mean, my mom used to send me all these photos, or she's sending me all these drawings that I used to do as a kid. It was like
Right.
all these art. I loved drawing when I was a kid, and I really don't even remember drawing. But
Uh,
she said I would, I used to do these, and I was like, okay, well then I should try to do more art.
right.
And so that's kind of like what got me into it. But basically, my whole thing is I find myself doing a lot more art as therapy. Like the creativity becomes like therapeutic for me because basically, whatever I go through in life, and if I'm stressed or if I have any anxieties or anything, or
Right.
then I just start drawing. So, and it's just a great medium. It's just a great release for me to be using it. So that's how I got into it. I mean, that's been my biggest influence. A lot of what I go through life, I use it in my art. a lot of experiences, a lot of places I go to, and it's just that a lot of myself is in that comic book. I mean, I'm even a character in the comic book, so I kind of
Right.
have that in there too. So that's kind of
Nice.
like the influence is life.
Yeah. So, where is your comic book available for those who would like to start reading it?
It's on Amazon. So if
Oh,
you go to my Patreon page,
right.
patreon.com / Lia Scott Price, they can see the covers, the sample of the artwork. So basically, some like, let's see if I have one here.
Mhm.
The comic book here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's
they can see
fun.
inside is
Yeah.
drawn by my artists, and
Mhm.
so it's also on Kindle and PDF downloads, and they can also subscribe to my Patreon. I upload every week, like a new drawing,
Oh,
so the
ah,
series continues on it, and they can follow the series online. So
I will also put that links in the description then.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Of course. Any future projects other than the comic book or
Um, hopefully, anime someday. I mean,
oh yeah, that's big.
yeah. So basically,
Yeah,
it kind of fits the medium. It's
right.
vampire kind of thing. So I'd love to see it as kind of an anime kind of thing because I've already done films. So
Right,
the comic books have done the novels. So that kind of, I mean, would kind of be a cool step to take.
right.
So.
Um, any other hobbies or
Uh, yeah, it's kind of like outside of the drawing and the painting
yeah.
and stuff. I love fixing up my Honda Element.
Oh,
It's
God.
2008, and my boyfriend has been kind of modifying it. So we put, you know, blue racing wheels on it and the whole amplifier system. It's
Oh,
just kind of
wow.
probably gonna uh, vinyl wrap it and all that stuff. But it's just kind of like I'm getting into cars.
Oh, wow.
Expensive, but hey, I'm a creative person, so I kind of like to have a creative ride.
Oh, that's amazing because I can't even check my oil. I'm like, how do you do that? As long as my car goes, I'm good. So I admire anyone who can like look into the engine and fix their own car.
Right, right.
Although my uncle was a mechanic, but my even my brothers and my sister, none of us are.
Right.
So I definitely admire you for that. Also, finally, any advice for future artists?
Yes.
Mhm.
Basically, when I started out, it was more of the question of is how am I going to, achieve what I want to do?
Right.
And my biggest advice is that the bottom line is you kind of have to run yourself as a business. I mean, even though you're creative, you have to learn how to be your own publicist, be your own promoter, be your, hire the right people if you need to, find an artist to draw, find the right services like printing companies. So it's like you kind of have to wear many hats. So
Yeah.
not so much of a burden as you see it as kind of a necessity. You kind of have to learn all that if you want to
Right.
keep
Right.
doing what you do. So
Yeah.
every day I find new ways to promote. Like I write my own, kind of promotional material. I kind of do my own graphics and stuff like that. But it's that's my advice is just, find a way to do what you love, but do it smartly.
Right.
Kind of think about what you need to do in order to get your work out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Even as a writer, I can, you know, it's hard to test what avenues work and what don't, but
Right. And you shouldn't
you're
be
doing
discouraged.
amazing though.
Yeah. And never be discouraged. It's like if one way doesn't work, then you find another way. You kind of every day is always adapting and adjusting.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so it's always it's a lot of work, but you kind of have to do it. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Leah, for joining us today, and I hope we can do this again sometime when your enemy comes out.
okay, I'd be happy to do it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for joining me for another edition of Interview with Irene. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.